Wait, are we live yet?
We are
No,
now.
no.
Yo, everybody, it's Eat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you this week. I got a special episode for you. I got two of my family from TKO. I got Jose and Emmanuel, and we're going to kick some butt this week. But first, I want to introduce everybody or let them introduce themselves. So go ahead and start with yourself, Emmanuel.
Yep, I'm Emmanuel. Been doing karate with Rob. Probably been doing karate since I was about 7 years old. Well, I started with Taekwondo, but Taekwondo and then some backyard fighting. Get into that later.
You probably will. I assume that was going to be a topic.
Yeah, it was our starting point. Jose and I started like fighting the backyard kids.
Yeah, Jonathan was actually talking about that today.
Those really good.
Go
Jonathan
ahead
was
and
like,
introduce yourself, brother.
How's it going, Jose Fuentes? How's everybody doing?
Everybody should be doing pretty good. So, all right. Well, since you guys let's just start catching up and stuff. You started talking about backyard fighting and stuff like that. What like started it? Was it just like something in the neighborhood, or of course you guys had your you had a pact, of course. So how did it all come about?
There's Dragon Ball Z. So we were big fans of Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Taekwondo before, and then I met Jose, and I used to always try to get him to fight. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're naturally, what was that, Jose?
Movies as well, like a lot of like action movies, like Bruce Lee movies. We're really into Enter the Dragon, Jet Li, Unleashed. That was a real big one.
Oh yeah, dude, that actually is more your style with the way it was more like a ring kind of thing. That was crazy. Oh, cat made an appearance. Hey, you never know when an animal will just appear. Yeah. But go on, tell us what you were saying.
So we didn't have any equipment. We started with just like using guarding gloves. We'd like take Jose's dad's guarding gloves and punch each other, do some boxing matches. Like no rounds, box each other.
Jonathan said the medical tape. Jonathan was talking about how we just taped our hands with just regular like tape that we could find.
Yeah. That's actually harder.
Yeah, we kind of thought we were like doing like blood sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were Tom Bowen in some glass, were you?
No, not with glass. Just tape.
So how old were you, Jose, when you got into it?
I got into it young. I started off at a Shotokan school, actually, that was in the basement of a church. And I did that for maybe about a year, but they had a different kind of style. And I don't know, I couldn't really connect with the way that they were teaching at first. So it really wasn't a good fit. And then later down the years, I found the Bethesda Center, and that was on 18th Street. It was like an after-school program for kids to go to do like their homework. They could get a snack and take up boxing or any type of different activities that they had, like basketball or anything. And they had a boxing ring in there. And after boxing, it was karate with Master Brian Aronson.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I think like from Ivory, she would tell me about that at first, and then of course the her moving in, or him moving down to 12th Street and stuff like that and stuff. So Manuel, going back to it, you mentioned your first school. Where did you two meet? Were you just neighborhood friends, school, or did you eventually go into a dojo and meet each other?
So we met at an after-school program called STARS for like Latino students. I don't know, probably second grade or something like that. So I was about 8 years old when I met Jose. He's a little bit younger than me.
Oh.
And I was like drawing a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think. And Jose was like, "Oh, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger too." That's basically how it started. We just basically started hanging out. We like Jose lived up the block from me, and we just started hanging out.
That's awesome. Jose, do you draw?
Not as well as Emmanuel. He's definitely like gives me a lot of pointers and kind of directs me in the right direction. But it is something that I like to do just on my downtime when I'm just like, just doodling and stuff, just to express myself.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the best way to do it. So we'll switch back to the fighting. So you said that you started filming at a certain point.
Oh, yeah, I used to get like my mom's video camera. And, like we would just make karate movies in Jose's backyard. We had like Jonathan was in there. Jonathan was probably about like, I don't know, like 4 feet tall or something back then. We'd have him like pretend he was Bruce Lee. He'd have like his shirt off with like the 3 lines of blood here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The ketchup.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, would you use pizza sauce or ketchup? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You know, get a fan, dry that ketchup off. It looks like it's dry
Yeah.
blood. Go work it.
Yeah.
We'd have, like fill up our mouths with Kool-Aid and like punch each other in the stomach and spray the Kool-Aid out like it's blood.
Oh yeah, yeah. When we used to do filming and stuff like that, bring up a little Kool-Aid thing. We used to do that. There'd always be those friends that wouldn't brush their teeth properly. So then they would get that red Kool-Aid. And you would look at it and you'd be like, damn, dude, all your shit's freaking, I can see it all.
I'm definitely one of those kids that would point it out and be like, bro.
Buy him a toothbrush,
Yeah.
giving it away. Yeah, I mean, I did a little filming back then too with my buddies. We used to do this show called In Search of. So I obtained the role of a frickologist, and what a frickologist is I had a frick tool, which don't ask me what it looked like anymore. I can't even explain it. But I would go and I would pull spirits out of trees. So you would see me like we would go down to like right there by Mill Creek before the zoo, and we would
Yeah.
just like start doing things like that, and then we would do some stupid act together. We made this one head this. We took this blanket and we put like a small little skull on it, and I put it on, and nobody could keep a straight face at all just looking at me. We did it decently, and it was so funny, but it ended up working out. And so we did a lot of that stuff. Matter of fact, when I actually blew my ACL out and all that stuff in that football game, we were filming at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I had a game at 7 a.m. And so I'm like, I know why I blew my knee out. I know why.
Oh, wow.
I had no sleep, but yeah, we did a crazy little episode, and it's what happened, man. It's good stuff. So of course you have this passion going forward and everything like that, because we've talked about movies and stuff. How did you? So was it always just you three, or did you bring other people in? And when did you start going, I guess, a little harder, more say let's street fighting? How did that get wrapped in?
So it was basically like me, Jose, and I, but every once in a while we'd have like kids from school come in and we'd make movies with them. But it wasn't even like that planned out. Like we would like just go off the fly. We'd have the camera and be like, all right, we're gonna do a fight scene. You're gonna smash his head against the wall, and we'd like paint the wall with something red or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, have it slide.
Like it was just spontaneous stuff.
So, I mean, of course, how much of that was real when you were filming?
We would punch each other in the stomach and kick each other for real. Like kick each
Okay.
other in the chest and stuff like that. We're
I
always
mean, it
pretty
works.
rough kids.
Well, like
Slam
my
each other
first,
for real.
well, probably my first like real like experience like fighting wise. Like I thought, like I was like all right, like I would practice in the mirror and stuff like that.
Mhm.
When I didn't really know any actual really skill or training, I would just like shadow box in the mirror and I'd be like, yeah, I'm a man. But I one time I walked past the Bethesda Center and I seen some kids boxing in the ring, and one of the kids was a kid I went to school with, and I knocked on the door and they let me in, and they're like, do you want to give it a try? They're like, have you ever boxed before? And I was like, yeah, I box all the time in front of the mirror.
Yep.
And I actually got into the ring with a kid that I knew from school, but he was way more advanced than me. He was actually just got done winning, I believe, a Golden Gloves championship. And I got in the ring with him like for only 2 rounds.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he knocked my lights out. Like I remember seeing like purple, like, and it was like fireworks, and I was like, man, and I'm just trying to reach for the ropes and everything, but I stayed in there and I tried my best, and I told myself, yeah, and I told myself I was like, I want to come back and just keep going. Like I don't want to just like be the talk. I want to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And I just kept on coming and just kept on getting better from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. To throw back, shadow boxing in your mirror is not actually a bad idea. We've all done it. I used to.
Yeah.
This is what I say. I have a shield in my cellar. Like I have that. I have a shield that I made in 7th grade wood class, and I used to have this wood sword. It was the ninja. I made it the Ninja Gaiden sword. I drew the little dragon on it for the dragon sword. I used electrical tape, and it was a tomato stake. And I shaved off. I pretty much just wore it down day after day. And I got it to where it was actually really nice. So then I would go around my backyard like I was Link, and I would just be chopping things and doing all these crazy things. Yeah. So
we played Fruit Ninja with our when we got into like martial arts tournaments, we like won some swords. And maybe we shouldn't have been doing what we were doing, but we were like playing actual Fruit Ninja before it was a thing with real fruit in the samurai swords, and we would throw them in the air.
Yeah, you sound like you have something to add to this, Manuel. What do you got for this?
To say we would throw apples at each other and slice them in half in the air. We thought we were like samurais. We thought we were master swordsmen.
I mean, yeah, why not? You aren't slicing an apple, you're doing it.
I remember hearing rumors of like past like martial artists or like black belt tests of like black belts putting out a candle with a sword, and we would practice to put out candles with our swords.
Yeah, how many candles went flying, and hopefully none hit the curtains. So I'm just gonna throw that out. Don't try this at home, kids.
No, definitely not. We definitely practice outside in a controlled environment. But again, do not try this at home. Yeah, definitely on standby.
I was bad with fire. We used to, back in the day, I don't know how much y'all would remember this or something. There used to be a science store in the mall. And I think it's where Annie Ann's is, right down there by the bookstore and the kitchen place that went out of business, whatever. Ruby Tuesdays.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So there used to be a science there. So my buddy, he was always kind of like, his parents always had money. They had 2 jobs, and dude made medical alarms. So his dad did. So he had money. So they went and they bought him like the top shelf science kit. And I'm like, oh shit, right? So I'm like, look, okay, we got this bad boy home, and I'm like, we get all this stuff, and it tells you to make these little stupid things and these little things. And I'm like, what? So we, of course, started using whole bottles. Whoop, whoop. We actually made a fireball one time. I can't remember what we put together. There was a bunch of, we put it in a 2-liter bottle, and we put all of whatever few things we put in there. And then we threw gas in there. And then we put this like stupid little light, like cloth. So I lit it, and it burned till the top. And I'm like, come on, man. So then I hurry up. I was like, all right. So I take my head over it like this, and I look at it. At that point, it drops in, not lit. And this thing just explodes, kind of. It literally melted the entire bottle, shot up, and it singed. I had longer hair then, of course, because we were all like, this is like 6th grade. Yeah. And it singed everything right there. Like
man.
So
get your eyebrows.
It got the eyebrows, but it got, most importantly, the front of my hair. So it was just like literally like that. And then I had my hair. And we seen it after I looked at it. I went back, and it flew in the air a little bit and dissipated. And on the ground was the melted plastic. And I was like, whoa. And we had a couple other incidences. We waited this one time. We knew something. Shouldn't have did it this other time. We light up this, we did some other stuff. We waited all day for his parents to leave, and we had it pretty much like a Molotov. And we freaking tossed it, and it actually worked. And he had a wood fence right there, so we had to go get the hose real fast. It was insane, but we didn't get caught. But yeah, so go on. So you're doing all this filming and stuff like that, and so movies definitely are inside both of your heads to make the the street fighting movies. And you brought up to me zombie movies and things like that. have you ever partaken in, maybe, let's say, I don't want to say anything illegal, but have you partaken in filming in the real fights too, going past that? Or did you just keep it at the where it was and then it stayed there in
We
life?
we did the funniest thing that I think we've ever did that was kind of like with movies. We did voiceovers before like people were really doing those
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I think that was the most hilarious thing like we did when we were a kid. I thought that was so funny. We did an Arnold Schwarzenegger to the Terminator, and
Oh,
we did it on VHS. So we grabbed like a big, huge, like the camera that you put on your shoulder,
oh
and
yeah, I remember
everything,
those.
and we placed it in front of the TV and put the volume all the way down, and we're sitting in the room being super quiet, recording, and while the Terminator movie's going, me and Emmanuel are doing voiceovers over it, and it was just so hilarious. I wish I could find the tape.
I know. Where is that stuff? That's, you guys do. Everybody does that now. You guys had this done like 25 years ago.
Oh yeah, it would like bring tears to our eyes when we watch it. It was that funny. We like turn it like he comes out naked at the beginning. We'll be like, oh,
Like, hey
my
man,
ring is cold.
like, hey man, it's cold, man. Like you're naked, dude. Like what kind of movie starts off and the guy's like just like nude like that? It's like,
Yeah.
all right. So we were kids. We took it as being funny and awkward, you know. So
Grab your dude with a knife. Give me your underwear.
You're nowhere. I need your car. You know, like, so you guys know what Mystery Science Theater is, right? Riff Tracks.
No, I'm not sure.
mm,
It's a show. It goes by Riff Tracks right now. If you catch it, you can catch it, I think, on I want to say Pluto. Pluto has it. They have 2 channels dedicated straight to it. And it's these, they always had 3 voices and they sit in front of the movie screen. So there was like a robot back in the day, and now it's just 3 guys and they do a stand-up. And they'll do like there'll be like a TV right there, and they'll just talk, and then sometimes they'll be away from it, but sometimes they'll just show the movies. But dude, they used to voice over the Godzillas. It's pretty
Yeah.
much what they do. And they would voice them over, man. And I'm telling you, it's insane. If you've never seen Mystery Science Theater, especially some of the Godzilla ones and the Hercules ones, Hercules and the Moon Men, that's another one too.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, there's this part where he's trying to like open this thing and his chest is like this and it keeps going like that. And the one robot's like, oh, Herc. It's like, dude, they catch you, man. They really do. And like they always make Herc like this fun-loving beat 'em up guy. So he's like, oh, gonna hop over here and hit you. It's so bad, but it's so funny. But they make bad movies funny because they've done they did Starship Troopers. They've done a lot of newer films as well too, because of them being Riff Tracks now. And then Mystery Science Theater, they did they did Gamera, they did the Gila Monster, they did The Man Without a Brain or The Head Without a Body or something like that. They did all those.
one thing.
What's that?
Sorry to interrupt. One thing that I thought that was funny that we did when we were younger was take serious movies that were like not supposed to be funny at all and make them funny, and that was like the most funnest thing.
That's the best.
Like the,
When you said that
sorry.
right there, you make me think about Edward Scissorhands. We thought it was going to be like more gory than that or something like that. We went there, it was a love story. And my buddy Dave Steele, he's sitting there and he's like, out of nowhere, he goes, there's a love story, like real loud. And somebody goes, and he's like, shut up, because he was a bigger kid back then. He had piercings and tattoos. So he's like, shut up.
Funny.
And I was like, dude, we thought we were done. That was our first time. A bunch of guys watching Edward Scissorhands on opening weekend. What were you going to say, Manuel?
Oh, I forgot already.
He'll come back to you. It's crazy, like the whole movie thing. So you guys were talking zombie. I see some of the artwork that you do with your girl or your wife, I should say, and how you like do a lot of the makeup, and that it's really good. So once I'm better, I mean, and everybody's got that we're down to do some of that stuff with y'all.
Oh yeah, we got to make a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably need some professional help with Lynn.
Get Len. Or just join
Yeah.
Len in his movie and just be like, give us a good broad and then just film us when we do some weird stuff.
Yeah, he does some awesome work, and his movies are always good.
Yeah, that Pact of Vengeance, that last Facebook post he threw up, man, I was like, whoa. Like everybody's like
Yeah.
Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah, I've actually gone to some of like his opening movie premieres and everything, and they're big. Like there's like a lot of people there. I'm like, whoa, like
Yeah, it's crazy. It's real nuts. So what if you guys had one trait you could take from each other, and since Jonathan isn't on here, he doesn't get any
Yeah.
traits. What would you take from Jose, and Jose, what would you take from Emmanuel?
I would take Jose's power. He's a hard puncher.
Yeah, he is.
I like Emmanuel's like just like the go get it attitude. Like he's just gonna go for it.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I can see the difference. I can see like, and I've not sparred Emmanuel. We talked about that, but I've sparred you, and I see where you seem more like you're more in like this zone kind of like area, whereas like he moves a lot. So I can see that. But
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm gonna say when I see you two fight, or when Jonathan's fighting either one of you, it's a good fight. It's fun to watch. It really is. I love it. I mean, y'all have done it all your life, and you guys kind of know each other's moves. But when you guys get there, it's fun for other people to watch you guys as well. So so going on, you're both start around, you're at, let's say, TKO. Did you eventually go to TKO, Emmanuel, or no?
Well, right now,
Okay.
But-
But in the past, no. You were just always.
He's talking about how you transitioned from parks to coming down to like the professional center when we used to
Okay.
box.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I did. I started with parks probably when I was like, I don't know, 8, and then, like I said, we did the backyard fighting.
Mhm.
Then in high school was when I started at the Trinity Center with Jose. We did the boxing classes. Probably started with the boxing classes for like a month before I started karate. I was
Nice.
kind of like disappointed in karate because I took some classes at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
You know, the punches like this.
Yeah.
So I got in my first, well, not my first, I've been in street fights before, but again, like a street fight with somebody who knew what they were doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to be a badass. And I saw the punch coming towards me. I did like the classic karate block like this.
Yeah.
Just got blasted in the face. Then I tried to do these punches, and the kid ducked underneath and blasted me again. And I was like, damn, this karate shit is garbage. So
Yeah.
it was basically just like, I wanted to do some boxing. And
You
then,
didn't use it in the right way. Got buck hard.
Huh?
He's
The
over
karate?
there wax on and waxing off, and the guy's like,
Yeah.
"What do I do?"
That classic karate.
That's
But
awesome.
then we did some boxing, and then I didn't know, I just ended up doing Brian's class, and Brian was like just straight fighting. It was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
So we
That's
started with
something I
Brian.
took from
Yeah.
that too. It wasn't even so much more like, I've already told you both kind of my story, just owning a lot of Mandarin films, watching them all, and watching like Jet Li and stuff. So, I'd be like, look at that. And I would do these moves. And one time we did try to film karate film, and I was going to fight my buddy, and he was very uncoordinated. And
Yeah.
that should have been your first thought. No coordination. He did this handstand, and he kicked me in the back of the head. And I'm like, dude, like I swear to God, it gave me. If there was one time I ever had a concussion in my life, it was that. We were supposed to sit there and do this. So they started doing like this stupid weird stuff, and then all of a sudden that headstand came, and somehow a 6'4" frame put a leg behind me, and I just felt, and I'm like, whoa. So, but that was it. Like outside of that, it was something that I always wanted to get into. Then eventually, of course, Molly, she finally was like, Dad, go. And then I came, and then when I first got there, I jumped in, and I didn't even think I could last the 2-hour class, the first class, and I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not out of shape like I could have thought I'd been at age 41. I could actually hang with it. And then when I got into the fighting, that was a whole nother.
Yeah.
My first fight, the first time I fought Jada. I think I fought Connor maybe first, but the first time I fought Jada, she came at me and she kicked me in the chest, and it
Yeah.
literally took me off my feet like that, like,
Oh yeah,
and
too strong.
oh yeah, and she hit me again too, but I stayed my own. And I think now, like everything that I've been through, I see what you guys talk about. You got to punch them in the face if they're going to stay around. So,
And
so what I see that you do your YouTube channel and everything like that, Emmanuel, with your whole what do you call it? It's Mondo's exercises.
Mundo de Manuel. So I don't know. It's just like World of Emmanuel, just because it fits together. So I just made it like that. I've changed the name a bunch of times.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
and
didn't know.
I
Start
I
off as a
see you
fitness channel.
guys rapping and stuff, and so what I was thinking is like, you should do that more. You should have more of those videos. I don't know how much more you have hidden on your phone that you don't, but I know that either Jose or Jonathan has to be around most of those times, and that like with you guys with your you guys could give expertise out. I watched your one kick with the one video with your roundhouses,
Yeah.
and you were just in your garage, and that's fast. That's like you look at it like you're just throwing kicks, but if you add your teaching aspect to it, I don't know where it could go, but I think that you could be like that fight tips guy that I online and just do 2-minute, 3-minute videos about how you approach and how you go in, like kind of like what they do. It might not make you money, but it might get you views, likes, shares, and maybe if you get up to a certain point, you might get something. I don't know. And then throwing in Jose and Jonathan into it and adding like a funny kind of aspect to it, I think that would
Uh,
be really awesome
I
to
have
see.
two of them with Jonathan, but it's stuff from like 2 years ago
Yeah, yeah.
about doing the spinning back kick and the stepping side kick.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's to me, it's you just you can learn from those, but you're never going to learn, and that's why I think Brian has so much dedication into fighting, is getting it in there and getting into the dojo. So did you go to both a tournament the first time together, or did you not?
Yeah.
You
We
did.
went to a tournament like 3 weeks after starting karate. Brian, I was actually scared. Jose was like more confident than me. I was like, I don't want to go to the tournament. Brian was like, you'll do fine
Mhm.
because of how hard we train. And we ended up doing fine, but I thought I was gonna get beat up, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Jose, how are you going
Man,
into that?
I was probably nervous. I probably just wasn't trying to show it.
Mm.
Emmanuel was definitely like I felt like I was like the underdog always from the beginning. Like Emmanuel and everyone around me had like a skill set already before me, and I
Uh-huh.
had like my shadow boxing in the mirror, getting myself psyched up. But
Mhm.
I just tried to listen to my coach and just try to do the best I can do.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So did you both win? Did you play second?
Actually, the first tournament we went to, Jose and I were on a team, and we're on a team with one other guy. We've got like, I think we got third or fourth place. We were
Okay.
fighting the British people. It was
Is
like the
that when
British
we got
Olympic guy.
those huge glass cups?
Oh,
Yeah,
what were
Yeah,
those?
it was like a huge. I think it was a King Cobra tournament, and
Okay.
it was a huge glass cup, and I remember just drinking like soda or like lemonade out of it. Like I
What?
was
Oh,
like,
you went all Stanley Cup on that, didn't you?
yeah,
That's awesome. That's really good. So, I mean, I'm not going to ask you how many tournaments you both been into. It's probably been hundreds. Uh,
yeah.
yeah. It's
have you two
been a
ever
lot.
faced each other?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
in tournaments, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's not
Oh,
ever fun, is it?
No,
yeah.
it's always like it's always good and fun when we'd go, or we would try to get in like different brackets or like weight classes just so we could try to spread out, and
Yeah.
that way that what wouldn't happen, because when we would be in the same division together, we would end up fighting each other because it
Yeah.
would be us for first or second, you know, when we
Mhm.
started really getting into it and learning more and more.
Yeah.
There's a point in time where we were training so hard that we are basically like dominating the tournaments. Like,
Yeah. I hear about that a little bit. I mean, I don't know about the history and stuff. And like I brought it up to both of you before.
there's like terrible politics. Like, there's a point in time that we were so good that the judges hated us and they would like try to make us lose. They would disqualify me all the time.
Oh man,
They're
I
like,
bet.
they're jealous, I guess, jealous that Brian was rising up, I guess.
Hmm. But look at the school. Look at the people that he surrounded himself with.
Mhm.
We definitely just like Emmanuel said, we just trained a lot. There was definitely we kind of felt like we were the underdogs, I guess. And we just had some things to prove, and of course, like just coming into something, you know, you want to just perform the best as you can, and you don't, especially in a karate tournament, it could be pretty embarrassing, like to get like kicked on in the face or something like that, or if you know, you don't want to be a poster boy.
Yeah, yeah. You don't wind it up on somebody's video, right? Right.
No,
Where your
yeah.
face explodes. Hopefully that
So
didn't happen to any of you.
that was always a big thing, and like Jonathan, he was when he got into it and started like I think during like purple or brown, he was really good. Like I remember he KO'd a kid one time, and it was pretty bad, and I was just like, man, like I don't want to be that kid.
Oh
You
man,
don't, you
John,
just gotta be careful, have your hands up.
Yeah. You guys tell
yeah,
me all the time. So what are
John
you gonna
was a
say, man?
badass when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Well,
What hit him
he
with?
still is, but he used to make the kids cry all the time in the tournaments. Nobody could take his hits.
Yeah.
John definitely he kind of came in later on, but there were times where we needed him to step up, even though he might have not been as ready as he could have been. But because we didn't have a black belt his age, he kind of would have to fight at an advanced level to
Okay.
kind of be with us because we were kind of already fighting in.
You hit your microphone, brother.
Nope.
Got it? There we go.
Sorry, call coming in. I had a call coming in. Did
He'll
you
do
guys?
that.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely tried to get him to an advanced level as fast as we could, but as best as we could.
Mhm.
So he had to step up to the plate a few times. I remember we went to a few tournaments where we had to go to win grand prize money of like $2,000,
Wow.
and we were fighting on stage for like first and second, and Jonathan didn't have as many years into martial arts as we did, but we put him in that position, and it you know, it might have been tough on him, but it made him the better fighter.
That's what's up. I mean, it's like it's almost like you're guilty by association, but you're better by association. Because I've said it to you guys all the time. Like you guys have taken me so much farther than I've ever thought I could ever do. Like back in the day, I'd get in a little scrap and I would like throw some punches, and then always being into wrestling, I would try to go for like a chicken wing or some kind of like wrestling hold, and I'd be like, you know, and I'd get it on them. I remember like there was this he was kind of a chubby kid. His name was called Phil, and I always had problems like fighting that kind of like body style because I'm just you guys. I'm a small guy kind of. So when I fight somebody around my size, I can be fast. And I went to grab him, and I picked him up, but something happened, and I got pumped in the mouth. And so then I kind of buckled a little. So when I grabbed him and when we went down to the ground, he ended up on top of me. And the one thing I
Oh,
remember is he spun around on me and he got me in the rear, like in the rear naked. And I was like, oh shit, this fight's gonna be done in a few seconds. Like, you know, tap
man.
tap. And it was in front of one of my oldest friends too, my buddy Dave with wrestling. He was like, you went for a wrestling move, Rob, and that's why you lost. I was like, it was bad idea, you know.
But that's probably what you were familiar with, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, that there's like like maybe they didn't grow up in like the greatest like neighborhood. There's
Mhm.
times where you get your neighborhood bullies and stuff like that, and you have to defend yourself. And definitely like at least knowing what you're doing is definitely like a feeling of where you're like okay, that
Mhm.
safe feeling, and that's definitely what a big point of martial arts was for me. It was just to like just be okay, like in any situation, either on the ground wrestling
Yeah.
or standing up. It's just the safety,
Yeah.
self-defense.
Yeah. You raise that because you never know. Like I got jumped, not a lot, but I've been jumped. I think more than 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
and it just sucks. Like you just walking home from school one day, and for some reason you weren't around your friends, or you had detention that day, and the wrong people are waiting for you, and you never see it coming. And next thing you know, you're sitting here getting double or triple tag teamed, and I'm like, come on, man! Like let's
Yeah.
just fight one on one. Like I don't
That's when
need the
you gotta
kicks and
punch
the
him in the
punches.
balls.
What was that?
That's when you gotta punch him in the balls.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I didn't do that. I remember one time I was literally a block and a half. It was Bakersfield, 32nd in Holland, and these two kids, and the one's older brother he was way older than us, and they grabbed me and they dragged me over to this mud puddle, and they threw me in it, and I was completely muddied, and a bunch of my friends that I did actually happen to be coming around like the corner at the time. And I remember he goes by Dinky. His name's Alfonso. He was kind of he was a badass growing up around like what I did, and
Yeah.
went away for, I think, I don't want to say it, but he went away for over a decade. Eventually in life,
What was his last name?
Tate.
Tate. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
he
just seeing if I remember anyone.
yeah. He was kind of like a small guy, kind of like not really tall at all, but he was just strong. And he came running over, and he saw me. He's like, "Yo, why you throw Rob up in the mud like that?" He was like, "Yo, man, we're cool, Dinky, right? We're cool, man." He was like, "No, we're not cool." He was like, and he grabbed the one and he skipped him in the mud immediately. Then he grabbed the other one and he was like, "Rob, throw him in the mud." And I threw him in the mud, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so toast. I'm so toast after this." I just knew it. Um, it kind of ended it, but me and that one dude, after I threw him in the mud, it never really worked after that. I think one more time he found me, and my sister saved me, but she was like a few grades ahead of us, and they caught me waiting for her after school for a detention, and I was just sitting there swinging, and the next thing you know, you know, just
Yeah.
shit, man. That's how it happens. Get jumped, and you're
Yeah.
like, where am I at? But you're right. You have to learn how to defend yourself. And I wish I would have known then what I can do now, because not only would I be like around your guys' skill level, maybe, but I would also have been able to have defended myself a lot better in those situations, instead of having to explain to my mom why I came home completely drenched in mud
Yeah.
and homework and books, mud.
Remember, there's times specifically that like I like have felt uncomfortable, that where I wish I would have like been able to like defend myself. Remember that time, Emmanuel, when we were kids and we were sledding at Roosevelt, and
Oh, yeah.
there were some kids getting picked on when me and Emmanuel were not picking on anybody. We were not bullies. We were just enjoying sledding. And I
Yeah.
guess that parent came back and was upset, and he just caught any little kid that was there, and that was like, and he was like, "Were you bullying my kids?" And I had nothing to do with the whole situation, but that adult, it was a
Yeah.
grown man,
Yeah.
grabbed me by my shirt and grabbed me and was like he grabbed me like where I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
and I was young, like then,
Uh,
and I was just thinking like, oh, like what should I do in this situation? This is an adult. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to like hurt them or like get in trouble, but at the same time, I did not like do anything to their
Exactly.
children. Like I was a kid that was just there. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know who they were or what happened. Do you remember, Emmanuel?
yeah. The guy was huge. Jose was like 10 years old. He was like, I didn't know, like maybe 4'5" or something. And the guy
Yeah.
gripped him up by his shirt. He's like, I could bench press your little ass.
Oh man, That was
Yeah, and I'm like, I was a kid. I was so scared, and I was just thinking like, what should I do? And I just wish I would have like, if I probably would have knew martial arts, I would have at least tried to like
Yeah.
get him away from me,
yeah.
create space.
Mhm.
Some fat Italian guy.
That's a proud Italian guy, a little busty guy comes in
Yeah,
there.
he was
You
like, he
know,
was like a monster. He was like, pick me up. I was like, oh
oh,
my god, don't hurt me.
my
So
dad
strong.
was my dad was the aggressive dad when we were growing up.
Yeah, it was
So if
crazy.
anybody messed with me, they would get him in the end. One time I got jumped. I made it away, and I had a huge like light pink. I can't even tell you what color it is. It was pink purple, not fuchsia. Don't know what it was, but it was a boombox, old school. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there jamming, and we had these woods like right around the block from my house. And this dude came out, and this is going into my ninth grade year. So this is eighth grade summer going into ninth grade. And this dude came out, and the minute he came out and the other two dudes came out, they were like, "This guy's gonna fight you, right?" And I was like, "He's gonna fight me." So this dude, the other guy that I kind of had not seen yet because I was eye to eye with the one kid I kind of had beef with, and he popped me from behind, and I took the
Oh.
boombox and I was like, boom, right? That's what got me chased. So,
Yeah.
did we lose him?
Oh,
Did
is
we
he gone?
lose him? We can get him back. Did his phone die? We'll re-invite him. But anyway, so what happened was I hit him, and then I went running, and I got to the house, and I tripped because we had these 3 steps, and we had a little lip, and my
Yeah.
foot caught that lip, and I fell,
Man.
and the door was open, and my dad was right there, and he took the bigger kid, took the door and right across my face. I had a purple eye to start that school year. My
Yeah.
dad came out, jumped over the railing, hopped in his car, and chased those kids in his car, full speed to their house, where he pretty much almost got in a fight with their dad until their mom called the cops because my mom was right behind him with the other car. It was insane. Yeah. And my buddy showed up that he was a pretty big guy too. So now we had everything was even. But this other kid, I don't know where he went. It was just the brothers there. And I turned around and my buddy goes, "No, we don't need no ride home." He was like, "You guys know we're walking home. Come and get some." And they never did. But my buddy did catch him eventually running up there, and he tried to get bad with him. And he gave him a razor's edge, where Razor Bone puts him like that. And so he grabbed him real quick. And
how's that?
yeah, you pretty much you grab them and you put them up like that, so they're like hanging like that with their their back head, and then you go forward and they kind of slide off your back. And he said he just did it, and he was like the kid hit, and he was like, and he started crying, so he ran to my house real quick so he could chase. But I'm like, yo, like it's amazing, it's this insane kind of like what you can just come across. You never know, like. And those are just only a few of the times that we can just go back and forth and explain and all that stuff. I wonder if his phone died. Did his phone die?
Oh, I'm not sure. Let's see.
We'll try to get him back in here. But anyway, we'll go on with your animation until we can get him back in. It says he's been invited.
Okay.
So go on with your animation. Of course, you love drawing and everything like that, and you're making a lot of videos. Not a lot, but you're making enough to do that and to go forward with it. How would you incorporate that with maybe some of your editing with movies as well? Like, because if you're doing this and you're playing that on like the cusp, you can improve that more. But how far do you want to go?
Oh, I want to work professionally. I just started school again right now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
But I was inspired by like Roger Rabbit, Space Jam, and of course Dragon Ball Z because I love the fight scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been drawn since I can remember.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a guy. Oh, wait a minute, here he comes.
Oh, okay.
But all right, we got you back here.
G Joe's back.
I remember I used to draw this. I used to make myself look like a Mega Man character, and I used to call him Pasky Man. And I
Yeah.
would draw him in school, and my teachers would always get mad at me because they would take the paper and they would wave it around. They'd be like, "Who is Pasky Man?" And I'd be like, "Oh my god," I'm like, they could so get me. And I was a goofball. I was always up near the teacher. They had to keep me away from my friends because I would talk. And I like literally, hi. And I remember one time I had this, I was playing with I had my pencil and I was doing this, right? And it flew and it hit. And I didn't know that it got everybody's attention when it hit. So I was like, man, that was really close. So I was like, I started reenacting it and then I went, and I go, I turned
Yeah.
around and everybody stared at me and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, I had moments like that.
Yeah.
It's like I walk into them all the time and I love it. It's just something. To bring it back up to speed, Jose, my dad chased those kids with the car after they jumped me. It almost got to him. Yeah, you can't do that
That's a good
nowadays.
dad.
That's assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, definitely.
He got away with it. Yeah, he got away with it. One guy, my dad, this dude is Dave. That's his name. He was a really bad seed around the area. He had to end up going away. Guns were a problem. He was 6'8", like he was just a massive thing. His dad actually owns a limousine place, so some people can know who that is. And he was just always fighting people. Well, when he was in 5th grade, I stuck up for one of my friends, and I didn't know that I was going to get this after school. And I remember just standing on top. I was over at Lincoln. They had that wood playground, and all I felt was a hand on my ankle, and I got pulled into this hole. And next thing you know, he's like on me, and so I got out of it. And at that point, my dad was right there. And when you brought up that parents put their hands on children back then, he grabbed that kid and he punched him in front of the whole school, and he dragged him to the principal that was on the corner, who's Misfit, and he just was like, "This kid was hitting my son."
Oh, Principal Misfit. I remember that.
He's the first person to ever paddle me.
Oh, wow.
Yep, Lincoln,
You're
first
probably
grade.
not the only one, you know.
You remember him, Jose? You remember Misfit?
Yeah.
Man. I'll tell
Real
you
good.
paddling story. Mr. What was his name? Jefferson. Jefferson. I want to say it wasn't Robert Polito. Donovan. Donovan was the pitcher. Robert Donovan. He actually paddled my dad, my uncle, me, and my brother.
Oh, wow.
That's some messed up shit.
He's like, you're nuts.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, "I'm gonna let you know something. I paddled your dad," and right before he paddled me the first time, I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, what do you?"
I don't care who you
That's
are. I
awesome.
will hear that from no man.
Yeah,
That's some
boom.
creepy shit.
Yeah, and that was crazy times and stuff. But we were moving along. We were talking about in Emmanuel's
I have a
direction.
good story
Okay.
about a martial arts story, actually. The first martial arts school that I went to, because you talked about how like you were really active when you were younger. There was be times where I would get comfortable and I was like talkative. My first martial arts school, I was real talkative, and it was they were more old school, traditional katas, and I liked it. You know, and we weren't just like even TKO. It's just not all about fighting though as well. There's some really good guys that put a lot of time into their craft with katas and self-defense and other things, and those are things that I'm very interested about as well, and actually even meditating. You know, and that's some things that some of my instructor like Jeff Sweeney, He
Yeah.
actually like brought it to us when we were younger. Like he was like, "Do you guys meditate?" And that like I didn't really think about it at the time, but I use it as many times as I can. There's just like little times throughout the day that I just try to focus
Mhm.
on certain things and just like think about myself and things I just need to accomplish. And that meditating time helps me like focus.
Yeah.
And and there was books that he would bring to us and get us to read, and that's some things that I get into now. Like I was telling you, I was reading some books about like the samurai way,
Yeah.
uh, and that's just like taking it beyond fighting. But
Mhm.
talking about my first martial arts school, I was really talkative, and I don't know, the instructor thought I was like kind of distracting some of the other students, and I guess one of the students was his daughter, and like he didn't like me talking to his daughter as much, which I was just being nice and like just getting to know everybody. And he didn't want me in his class. He was like, "This kid's a distraction." He talked to my parents, and he was like, "He's like martial arts not is not for him,"
Uh,
and that crushed
Oh,
my dreams. I remember being outside and listening, and he was actually the deacon at our church, and he was a martial arts black belt from a Shotokan school
mhm.
that I got that I started with, and hearing that like and I still hear it to this day. Like when he said that, I was just like, darn, like I had so many dreams of
Yeah.
you just crushed them for me, dude.
Thank you,
Like
dude.
oh, I actually
yeah,
remember that story.
Oh, were
yeah.
you
Yeah,
there?
Yeah,
remember.
Emmanuel, he was going to parks, and I wanted to be in a martial arts school, so I begged my parents, and they're like, "It's a lot of money, like we don't know, like." And my actually, like, they got me into it because it was a part of the church, so they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, like we know the instructor already. He's the deacon at the church, and he was
Mhm.
very like strict. We trained on a hardwood floor, did push-ups. Our gis were like our karate uniforms were like the old traditional Japanese ones, and they're like real
Like led
cardboard. Like
seniors, right?
yes,
Yeah, that
yeah,
cloth stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was very intense, and it was like you had to listen, and like the guys like walk around with like a bamboo stick.
Oh,
Like, yeah, so but but yeah, like I said, he crushed my dreams early and was like, you're not meant for like this martial arts school or this type of martial arts. And I was just like, all
mhm.
right, like, and he
Yeah.
told my parents like it was a waste. Like he was like, he's a waste. I was like, oh, and I still hear it to this
You
day.
gotta pay him a visit.
So I did actually, I did
Oh.
a few years after I went to church with my mother, and he was actually there. He went away for a while. I don't know if he went to like did like a mission or something for the church, and he ended up coming back, and I ended up like connecting the dots and found out that he was a martial artist and he was a black belt. They're like he was actually the one that used to run the school in the basement, and I was like, oh,
That
now I
guy.
remember you. Yeah, so I remember like when we go to shake each other's hands like at church and stuff like that, and like give each other like bendición. I
Mhm.
brought him I brought him in close, and I was like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And he was like, "No." I was like,
Ah,
I'm one of the kids that took martial arts at your martial arts school, and you ended up telling me, that I wasn't meant for it,
mhm.
and I just want you to know that I ended up still continuing my martial arts passion, and I am currently a black belt. And I was like, and I earned it, and I just
Mhm.
want you to know that.
That's
And
awesome.
he was like, yeah, that's cool, that, like I'm happy for you and everything. He was like, yeah, and
Yeah, I got you.
my
He's
little
he's
brother was
proud because you're
there.
macking on his daughter.
Yeah, my little brother was there, and my little brother was like, "Oh man, he knew I was gonna do it because I like walking towards him, and
Yeah,
I brought my chest out, and Jonathan was like, "Oh man," and I like brought him in
say
close.
it with your chest. That's right.
Yeah,
You
I had to
had
let him
to.
know.
You had to cross that bridge. Because that's one thing that I've always been told all my life. Like the one teacher that I got kicked out and had to take an F in. He just got fed up with me, and one day I stuck up for this heavy metal kid that he had ripped jeans, and every day he'd be like, "Go to the office." He'd call his name, Sean, here, office. Sean here, office. Next day, all week long, all year long. And I went to the office. He sent me to the office one time. And he was like, you didn't go to the office. He started yelling at me. And I was like, yes, I did. I was like, Sean, wasn't I at the office? And Sean was like, yep. He was like, Sean. He was like, here. He was like, office. And I was like, that's messed up, dude. That's messed up. I was like, no, that's wrong. So he walked Sean out of there. And I said, you sent him to the office every single day. I said this in front of my class. I was like, you sent him to the office every single day because of the way he looks. And you just do it. You're denying him an education. He took that kid out that room and he turned around, and this dude's huge. His name is Mr. Hurdle. He's a science teacher and I don't know if he's still alive. He's probably about 500 pounds, round ball guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Took this freaking book, and these weren't small rooms. This was like the centralized big rooms. I don't know if you've seen them, or took it and threw it right across the room. And I'm sitting there, I dodged. I was like, damn, he's mad. Right? And he was like, you son of a motherfucker. He's calling me everything a name. I was like, if my dad saw you throw a book at me like that, he'd have whooped your ass. And he was like, get out of my room.
Oh yeah, I've had a few situations like that, but I've always tried to avoid, like, if I have to cross the street to avoid a fight, I will definitely try my best to do that. It's not worth it. Have been scary situations. There's times, even if you're not looking for it, it'll find you some type of situation like that. And you just have to, it's kind of those things where you have to always be ready. Like,
yeah, that's I mean, just to throw it in there, and we'll kick it over to Manuel because I know he's got something to say. My brothers, when what was that one bar that was not the Cell Block, the one next to it, the one that was on
Sugar Ray's.
What was it?
Sugar Ray's.
Yep, yeah. He was picking up his buddy from Sugar Ray's, and he was walking past the Cell Block, and he literally got in a fight at the Cell Block. And my brother's a big guy, 6'4", 380. This is before he had any of the problems. He was still a truck driver. He was home, and he was just walking with his dude. And next thing you know, he's sitting there fighting. He was like, one of the dudes took a bottle and smashed it and tried to stab me. And I was like, what? And he was like, so I knocked it out of his hands and I stabbed him in it with the ankle because he was like, there was two people on me. He was like, so I got the one off me, and he was like, I rolled the other one over and I punched him, and then the bouncers came out and got him off. And I was like, there you go. That's exactly it right there. You guys probably got some stories about that place, eh?
Oh yeah, we could have stories all day. I was mostly we got into like clubs at like young ages, like maybe like even sometimes when we weren't even supposed to even be there.
Yeah, we know.
But lucky enough, we were nice, like smart kids, and we just try to stay low key and not make too much noise, just stay quiet and just chill and at least have a good time.
Yeah. Just what you got? What do you got there, buddy?
What we used to do, we used to go to the quinceañeras, the Mexican parties. We used to go there every weekend in high school, and because you can get beer there in that time.
Okay.
We used to go there like this Mario is Jose's cousin. I used to go there with Mario. We used to slam beers. Like we would slam like, I don't know, like 10 beers each. We just sit down and like slam beers the whole time. and then like for like the last half hour we'd start dancing. We basically just go slam beers.
It was just like for courage, I guess.
Yeah, dude, that's the best part is I think they say like you just kind of keep to your own, act like you're supposed to be there, and no one will mess with you for the most part and stuff like that. I mean, I used to go to the King's Rook, and I used to always love it when there would be fights and stuff like that, just to see what's going on and watch it. But then we would go there, and it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like $1 liquid cocaines or something like that, 75-cent liquid cocaines till midnight. So we would just line the whole table up and and then like for the next 2-3 hours, man, we were hawking and doing what you got to do, in the clubs and stuff. I mean, crazy times.
Would always try to be careful though too. Like there were some situations where there was like parties like where like they would even like be like shootings, and you don't want to get too intoxicated where you don't know what you're doing or where you're at. And especially know where the exits are. You
That's
know,
that's smart. You're right.
Yeah,
yeah,
I would leave that up to somebody else at that time.
martial arts for like me especially was always like a big training of life. Like it's a way of life. Like you basically fit it into aspects of your life, like
Hmm.
around it, and and that's one of them. Knowing
Yeah.
where your exits are. Keeping your back up against the wall. Or and just different trainings that like it's like I always have that fear if I don't train myself to at least be aware of my surroundings, even when I'm like trying to have a good time, that
Hmm.
one day it's gonna slip up and there it's gonna catch up to you, if you drop your
Yeah.
guard. So you
Yeah.
just gotta
You're
be
right.
ready.
Like you said, if you don't know where the exits are and something goes down, it's also good to have that stamina too to get the hell out of there. When
Yeah.
everybody's running, you know where you're going and you're running, and because you're already physically a little stronger, faster, more agile, you get there a lot faster and get out of there a lot faster and say, I'm out, done. Like my,
Because definitely for training for boxing, like Matt Borzon was saying, we like literally ran like miles as kids around the cemetery and
Oh
or
yeah.
with our coach Brian Arrington. He would take us to like the beach,
mhm.
and we'd have to run the sand, logs on our backs,
Oh
like old school training,
yeah,
push-ups in the sand. It was
holy crap.
intense.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. We'd run the cemetery, and then like in the winter
that was a
time, I
warm-up.
remember it sucked so bad.
That was a warm-up, and then
Yeah,
we'd come
how
back
we.
to isometrics,
Hmm.
calisthenics, and we had another instructor that would come in, Marty Davis. He was a sheriff,
Dude,
and
killer.
yeah, we were 14, but he would train us like we were grown men, like we were doing things that the sheriff SWAT team were doing,
Ooh.
like push-ups.
Mhm.
He would be doing 6 inches, and he would be walking across our stomachs with his boots on and full uniform. And he wasn't a small guy, like
Ooh.
jumping on your chest and
Yeah.
everything. I remember one time doing 6 inches, and my body was shaking. It was so bad, and tears were running down my eyes. I was a kid,
Oh.
and I remember that pain to this day. And like it's it's an experience
Yeah.
that I wouldn't trade it for the world though, because that
Mhm.
definitely
Hmm.
pushed me in hard where I didn't know what tired meant or felt like
Hmm.
back then, and definitely something that I want to been pushing everything and training every day to just run and keep competing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd basically train to the brink of death. Like go run 3 miles and then do like crazy military calisthenics, and then after that we would have to spar. And like, oh man, it
Yeah.
was so difficult. But that was the time when we were winning all the tournaments too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
I
that's
definitely
I was gonna
felt
say
like
that's what it takes.
yeah, times were different. Like back then when we did martial arts, it was and like I said, it was an after school program, and Brian Arrington basically did it voluntarily
Yep.
for like the state police, to help out with a weed and seed program
Yep.
to help like inner city kids. And it was a free program that we could do, because if my parents had to pay for it, like unfortunately we wouldn't be doing it because I got kicked out of my first karate school. So
Yeah.
there, it wasn't gonna happen again. They weren't gonna pay all this money for me to get kicked out again. So I had to find some different way to find my journey. And lucky
Yeah.
enough, Matt Borzon and Brian Arrington, Matt doing boxing there. Then afterwards, Brian with the karate. So I'd stay for both, and so with
Yeah.
Emmanuel. And I remember us fighting, and other kids would come and see us. And me and Emmanuel were fighting hard. I had like a busted lip. Emmanuel had a bloody nose. And they asked us, like, do you guys really hate each other? Or like,
yeah.
because you guys are fighting hard. And I said, no, this is like my best friend, my brother,
Hmm.
like this is my partner. Like we push each other every day to become better, and we did, with time.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, it still stands true. I mean, look at you guys now. Like you guys can literally walk in and your skill level is like always right there. It doesn't matter. It shows that you've done this for a long time. And it shows like, like the first time, I mean, I already said it the other day in the chat when the first time I saw you, Mano, I was like, you came in with the Bruce Lee shirt, and I was like,
Yeah.
is that Brandon Lee? Like, who's that? I was like, you had your hair, and I was looking at the shirt, and I was like, dang. And then I see you threw a kick, and I was like, it really is Brandon Lee. He's really good, man. He's like that, like in that. And then, of course, the first time I saw Jonathan, he's always happy and just, then he's kicking the freaking top of the damn metal thing. And I'm like, how long are your legs, bro? Like, it's way up
Dude.
there.
Jonathan catches me too because his legs are so long. I was like, I just dip back. I have enough space to dodge and I'll still get kicked in the head. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. I was what was it? I've never sparred him, but I was sparring Jada over the last couple of weeks, until my misstep. And it was she started she wanted me to come at her hard, right? So there's like she's sitting there and I'm waiting because I'm kind of passive. I know that, Jose, you know that. I kind of wait and I start analyzing, and that's a downfall of mine. And she's sitting there and I swear to God, she just started whistling Dixie without making the moment. Like I was sitting there and I looked at her and I was like, she's just whistling Dixie. And I was like, no, screw that. I was like, I'm coming back next week. So I came back and I came after her really hard. And we had a really good fight that last time, and better than we normally did. And she was training, and I got a hit on her and I got a kick and I moved barely. And this foot came like that. And I'm like, whoa. But I moved because of what you guys do, how you guys take someone like me who's just been an athletic guy, and you can take that football body and start breaking it and breaking all that out of him, or anybody that walks through that door can ultimately do this if they want to, if they put the heart in, like you all have. Like and I hear all the talks about 10 grand champions or whatever that is. I assume that yous must be a few of those or something like that.
A grand champion is when someone wins in every division. Like, so they win in like first place in kata, first place in weapons, first place in division in fighting, and that's a grand champion.
Okay.
That he beat everybody in everything. We kind of mostly stuck to anything fighting wise, like
Mhm.
anything from the 1 point to calls to continuous to kickboxing. That was our base, and that's kind of like what we threw ourselves at. We definitely have a few grand champions, but like I said, I've done forms, but I like to stick to fighting
Yeah.
because it's hard to get to that athletic. Like we're right now, I would like to say I'm in decent shape where I could defend myself and I'm good. But to get into that fighting shape is something that can only be held for a certain time, and you have to train very hard for it
Yeah.
and to hold that, So like professional athletes, they can train all the time because that's their only goal to, like, that's how they pay their bills.
Yeah.
So they can do that. If, I had, if I was a professional athlete and all I had to do was work out and, train karate wise, that would be a great, great thing to do. But
is.
yeah,
It's
and that's what we're trying to get back to, and that's why we've been working really hard at TKO and working on our cardio, running, and we do a lot of things that we need cardio for. Just like Emmanuel said, we're running, and that's just like a warm up, then kicks, and then or sometimes we could go 0 to 100 where we're starting off like kickboxing at right after stretches when we first get there,
yeah.
and those are hard fights. Like we have some really good students that are really fighting their hearts out and really have been showing me like that they want it. They keep coming back, and that's definitely a goal itself. If I see
Mhm.
somebody come back after after we have sparred, that definitely
Yeah,
you earn my respect, because it's like you want to come get punched in the face, like that's what you want. Okay, then
Yeah. It takes, it does take it. I mean, I've even, even when I got popped in my rib that one time, I remember what was going on in that time because, I've told you this already, but this for the viewers, the minute I heard you go with that zit, 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 and I was like, yeah, then I was like, ow. But it's how good you push people and in training them and made them better. So now it's like when I fight like the lesser skilled people, it's like, because it's like not every fight's like fighting you, and of course not every fight's gonna fight like Emmanuel or Jada or Derek. Like Derek's like, dude, if you don't attack me after that first hit, I'm gonna hit you. And I was sitting there and I did it, and I'm like, okay, and then that was like something, but bringing that up, going that you did a little workout and you did that when you did that kickboxing, what I call a gauntlet, because you were the only one that fought everybody. Nobody else fought everybody that first time they kind of brought it out on people. You're just sitting over there like doing your stuff, right? And then you come out and you're throwing. And I think Brian was like, "This is kickboxing. You can use your legs." And Derek did that spinning heel kick where he flew on the ground. I was like, "Ooh, he was getting it up there." And he was like, you could see the intensity coming out, and you were
hey,
drawing that out of them.
uh yeah, my thing is, I don't know, I've always just always had to fight everyone. Like, yeah, I feel like that makes me just better, just going like individual rounds with everybody, making sure I don't leave no one out. I
Yeah,
want to train with everybody, and I love finding everybody's rhythm. That's kind of like my thing, is that I try to set myself a little bit apart, like, and have my own style. Is I'll pick and choose what I like, that I like from that I pick and choose things that I get from different instructors that they've taught me, like Lester Jones, Vanessa Booker, of course Brian Arrington, things that I've seen them do in the past, and I try to influence that into my fighting style. And one of my biggest things that I like to do is I like to read my opponents and try to see things coming before they actually come. And that and I always get that is like anybody can be a fighter, but it takes a different skill or mindset to be a technician and
yeah,
actually have a strategy like chess. Like,
you're
if
right.
they step one way, you got to step this way. And it's like the same thing when I fight Emmanuel. Like,
Mhm.
there was a time where we didn't fight each other for a long time, but we would always be training like on different schedules because we're adults now. I have children and
Yeah,
everything. So there was a time. So it was pretty funny, like when we first like got to fight each other again, because that was actually when you started too,
yeah,
Rob. So it
mhm,
was like I brought Emmanuel back because I was like, hey, like I'm really starting to like you know get really into training. I need some guys to fight with that are gonna push me because I like fighting with everybody, and there's only so many people I could fight.
yeah.
So the first day Emmanuel came back, when he would step, I would step. Like it was like I was mirroring him
You're
to like,
fighting
what
each
are you
other.
gonna do? Yeah.
You're
So
pretty
it
much
was,
like,
we were playing like a game of chess because there was like probably at least half the round we didn't even hit each other. It's just like Jose would do this, I would do that, and then I would step forward, Jose would step backward. We were trying to see who would get the
uh-huh.
first move.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you kick really fast, like, so that's the thing too. Is like you said earlier, always have your hands up. Always have your hands up. And that's a big thing is, when you attack, you are exposed. And you two and Jonathan and a lot of the other black belts there know that if you attack wrong and you do not follow that attack, that it's the perfect opportunity to knock somebody. And that foot can come up fast. And even if we hold back, Molly she kind of felt bad the other day. She kicked one of the new kids and she didn't think she kicked him hard, and he walked off and he started crying, And she came home and she was like, well, and I'm like, no, you taught him. And you hear it said all the time, once you're punched in the face, you're coming back. Like, kid comes back, he's back for a reason. If he stays away, then that was his defining moment, that he just wasn't going to go that extra far, further into that. And maybe kata's more his style, learning the katas and things like that too, whereas opposed, to doing the sparring.
Definitely. I see that a lot with people, like they'll get hit or like hesitate. Um, but it's definitely just like just keep training, keep learning.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a lesson. It's a humbling lesson too. Like when
Yep.
you get hit back, like oh man, like is that type of feeling is very humbling. Like especially like fighting somebody, because it's not like something like you could get hurt
Yeah.
like doing like what we do, and we train hard, and it's didn't like some martial arts can be different, some martial arts schools can be different, but we like some schools will stop in between points and fights, but we're fighting continuous for
Yes.
2 minutes straight, like or more, and that's 2 minutes with somebody. You get maybe 20 seconds, you switch, fight another 2 minutes, 20 seconds, switch, 2 minutes, and this will go on for 45 minutes to like, who
Yeah.
knows when, because I'm not keeping count. I'm just like, okay, who's next?
Yeah.
And that's how you build up that stamina and everything, and you get to get better.
Yeah. I mean, over to Manuel. Going off of what he just said right there, and of course, you do, you do come through and everything like that, but you haven't been through recently. You haven't seen some of the newer kids that are coming through, and it's been kind of nice. You haven't seen Dang yet, have you?
Oh, I actually know Dang from Iron Oxygen. And
Oh,
I
okay.
go down and check it out. But
Emmanuel got Dang to come down to the gym.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. I think now, okay. Yeah, I'm Polish sometimes. Sorry, I remember you
Okay.
saying that, but now you said it on the thing. That yeah.
Probably
Go on.
this will probably be my last week off. I just have to give it like because I don't want to re-tear my
Yeah,
like explosive movement.
yeah.
But I'm doing some stretching, did a little bit of running, so hopefully I'll be
Right.
all right.
And I think that's it. That's what's really happening is because like right now, what like Jose was saying and stuff, we're getting like these new people,
Yeah.
and they have really distinct like fight styles. Like the new dude Blake, he looks like an
Oh,
English guy, a bare knuckle brawler.
oh
Like
really? Yeah. I
you know
didn't
what
know
I'm
if I
talking about, right, Jose? He's got that like wide stance,
Yeah,
and it's
different people have brought him up to me and said, hey, this guy can fight. So I like seeing new guys come in, different fighting styles, like you said, and especially like even you, with you coming in, like you've improved a lot since you've started, and I like it. I like every day how you keep pushing yourself. And I actually talk about you like to like my friends, my
That's awesome.
family, and I'm like, man, this guy Rob and his daughter, like even before, like when you first started, I thought it was so awesome that it was like a dad and daughter thing, because
Yeah,
I have two girls, and I'm really close with my kids and have a special bond with them. And martial arts is something to me that's close, and I keep
yeah.
telling them that's something that I need to share with you, because self-defense is important.
I agree. I totally agree. Especially like the girls and dad cannot always be there. And eventually they grow up and they move away or go to college and things like that. And you'll get a call about some stupid stuff. And you're like, man, I can't be there. But to get that other call where, you hear some shady stuff went down, but they're like, but I was okay. I took care of the situation. That right there is huge. It's huge. But even if you don't hear it from your own kids, to spread that knowledge, like you said, to other people, and for them to be able to take that and use it in a bad situation, or to use it to improve, to get better, because it almost felt like each time I'm away, I come back with some kind of something new. It's weird.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. To expand Jose was talking about meditation earlier, and meditation is actually a huge part of my training. Like I've taken like entire years off from sparring, like an entire year. Like when I went to Pittsburgh, I came back and I was still able to spar, and Brian was surprised. And a large part of that is when I meditate, sometimes I'll think about, like, since I've done so much sparring, I just think about different possibilities and what I could do in that possibility, and it'll come out when I spar. So
Yeah.
meditation is actually super useful for martial arts, or pretty much anything. Like you can use meditation for anything in life.
I agree with that. You know, I was watching this one video where this guy was shadow boxing. He said, "Grab your computer." It was Shane Fazer or whatever, Fader, whatever the guy,
Yeah.
and he had his whole like thing, and he was like, "All right, now watch yourself, replay yourself, and try to like look for the openings of where you're open at, and then try to exploit that, and then
Yeah.
that kind of can help you too. It's cheap, but it's another way." He was giving out 5 ways to like improve like that. So he did that, and then he did a few other things too. Because since I've been home with this time, I've just been watching those extra videos, and then of course Jose sent me the Roberto Duran fight the other day, where you kind of learn things. And to go back when I sparred Rob, Kim's husband, a few weeks back, something like that. Matt, I was getting Owen at the beginning of that match because I'd never fought him, and he decided to go with his right forward. Well, Matt had also told me, don't switch because you switch. And the reason why I would always switch, and you would probably know this, Jose, when you switch the stances on me, I always switch is because I know you can't really kick someone in the back, and it feels like if I'm that way, I'm gonna kick in the back. But it just means that you should be bringing your back leg, not your front leg roundhouse to someone's back. You should be bringing that side kick and things like that. You guys know this stuff. So when I was fighting him, it's after a couple times he hit me, and then I went to throw a kick, and he blocked it with his shin, and I came back in there. I calmed down, and I saw what he was doing, and I exploited it. And for the rest of that fight, every time he did what he did, I blitzed and I hit him every single time. And that's the skill that you guys teach.
And I love how you're like getting into it, and I love that spark in your eyes. That's probably like the biggest like gratifying experience for me, like is seeing how you guys grow and how like passionate you guys about it because actually that motivates me. Like even like Lynn's dad, like coming and like doing the kicks, like when he's right next to me doing kicks, like I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like you motivate me to become a better person, a better martial artist. Like in like everybody, like you and your daughter, all the kids, when you guys have that spark and you guys want to train, that just makes me want to show you guys more and do the best I can to get you guys to where you guys want to be and beyond.
Yeah, and that's going back to the stamina. That's where COVID's kind of almost wrecked someone like me, because it's like that time off, I can't duplicate the dojo. And then when we took that other time off, and you guys somehow made me bigger. I've just actually realized this the other night. The wife went, I said a comment. It wasn't nothing. It was funny. She gave me one of those little love taps in the middle of the chest, and she hit me. And I was like, psh, right? And I looked at her, and she goes, you could see the look in her eyes. She was like, I've hit you before. I don't know what I just hit. It's totally different. So she said a second. I said something. I was like, man, I could take your hit down. And she hit me again, and it didn't hurt. And I was like, oh, because like right now I feel this tightening and this is really tight. And I'm like, okay. And it's that. But when I was using that rib protector, and that fight I was fighting you with, I literally could not breathe because I've been bigger in my entire life, but I've gotten bigger during that time that thing was actually like pretty much suffocating me. It was holding me back. And I was like, I'm sitting over there for a second. I'm like, I can't breathe. I got to bounce out. And I was so mad. I was like, I was pissed. You know when I said it, I was like, I'm sitting out like a damn pussy. I got to get out because my conditioning sucked. and then I took it off, and then I was fine the next week, and I figured it out. It was that thing that, just that extra thing that you're like, well, I'm going to be protective. Well, you know what? I took it off because, one, it's too small now, and two, because I need to defend myself better and not rely on stupid things like that. And my defense has gotten a little better with some of the things and being able to push, certain people to different limits. So like you said, when things slow down, like when I fight Connor now, I think maybe I'm like just the same size as him or something like that. We can go around for a lot, but then like when Connor fights like you guys, he goes at you guys differently, way better than I can. But it's like for some reason I can bring him down to where I'm at, and I don't know if that's the way I slow the pace down. I don't know that, but I always look for his little load up kick. I always look for that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely, like I said, one of my favorite aspects about myself is I like to read the person, and like I catch a rhythm where I try to catch theirs and know where theirs at, and kind of like either bring mines up where they can't catch it. And I'm into music, so I
Yeah.
like to catch a beat and kind of flow with it.
Oh,
And that's what I like fighting Derek, because he's like a dancer and he flows and moves.
yes, he
So I
does.
could kind of relate to his style, and I like how he moves and he improves and comes back for more. Like, he's definitely another student that I like, that he's improving, and just
Derek
like
has
everyone else.
improved.
What was that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
Derek
no,
has
you're good.
improved. Like he's improved a ton. Derek is getting super good.
Yeah,
And Luke, a
Yeah,
beast,
Luke. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Luke is.
Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham. I was definitely hard on Luke. Especially like his dad being a black belt and everything. Like, stepping in that shoes, buddy. I know it's a lot to handle, but your dad's good. And we'll get you there. And there's some times where we've sparred and everything, and he's taken some hits and he's gotten up, and I love it.
Oh yeah,
He takes hits, and his headgear flies off a ton.
But trust me, he will be giving them back.
Oh no, he does. He does.
Yeah.
Emmanuel, you've sparred with Luke, right?
Yeah. I've sparred with him a bunch of times. Yeah, Luke's even within the last few months, Luke's gotten way better too. Luke's
Yeah.
hands are getting better.
Everybody
His speed's getting
has
better.
improved.
His timing's getting better.
And that's something like what you're saying about timing. When on the Mondays when we're doing those 100 punches, well, I'd say 500 punches because we start out 10, 20. Matt makes us do all that. So we're getting out there, and I was noticing that when I was gotten to it right before the Wednesday that I got hurt. I was up. I wasn't getting tired till 70, and I was like, holy crap! And then like I was punching wrong too because I've never been taught real like punching mechanics. So like I can't remember what it was. I think it was Matt, and I was watching everybody go like that, and here I am. I've been turning my wrist the whole time, making myself so much slower, turning it to throw a hook or do something like that. So that, but some of my kicks that have been working, they're not as good as your guys's. But I was really surprised because you could tell when you hit the bag. I was like, oh, I can do this. But
yeah, those bags are definitely not light.
No.
But that's one of the best things is that he brings in different people. Like Matt does kung fu and boxing, so he has a completely different style. And then Lester used to come a lot. He had like specialized in kicks. Sweeney was real technical. Sensei Sweeney.
Yep. And then you guys brought up them and stuff like that. So, when you're looking at the whole thing, there's just everybody has their aspects and their let's say their thing that they can teach you. So like when some of the times when I'm fighting Derek, like you said, he's a dancer. And like he does that thing where he like turns around on you, and I'm like, what the hell's he doing? I'll just throw like I'll just throw a side kick and this will work because his back's to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and then you're like, oh, okay. So, you kind of like do that. And like Luke was noticing the one a couple weeks in it, because of course me and him would talk about it. He was kind of like putting that arm out there, and I hate it when tall people put that dang arm out there. Cause I'm like, I'm gonna sidekick you. I'm gonna sidekick you, and that's the way it's gonna go. And me and him have had some little matches where we've gotten in, and I think it's great to hear like when you hear the Master Arrington or Matt or anybody in the background just go like, right here, get it, Rob, get it, like, or Jose, he was wide open right there, or Emmanuel, like, you're a little less like on the kick right there, he's still kind of new or something like that, and you hear it, but it's always funny how like Brian brings us all over. And then everybody's like, yeah, he's like, all right, there's a lot of testosterone in here. And I'm like, yeah, and I got the worst belt. And I'm like, woo, because I go sometimes and it's just all black belts. Like, they're all there. So you can only get better.
Well, us growing up, there was a lot of black belts around as well. A lot of talent everywhere, from old to young, and different lifestyles, different backgrounds, and that's what we loved, and that's what I liked about Brian, and he brought people from different walks of life to show us things, not just martial arts, just life, period. We had an instructor, LB. He was really good, showing us different things, very old school, technician wise, strategy, and just other instructors that they were serious, and we had to be serious about it because they didn't play. We were like fighting for respect, and it was like blood, sweat, and tears, and you had to earn it, because like I said, this was a program where it wasn't something that Brian had to do. Like, he didn't have to teach me martial arts. He didn't have to do anything for me. So anything he did for me was out of his like heart and everything. And anything that the other instructors like did for me or anything was like just like something that I can't pay back, other than just keep coming to the school and keep trying to help as much as I can and help you guys. And that's what I love about it. It's like a growing family.
It is, and it's fun. And like, and we're gonna kick this over to you, Emmanuel, because I know what I So when I was talking to you the other day, and I about that whole the blitz, and then you come back in, and then you kind of just lead with that. Like, I was thinking, it's something that I'd never really like. I do extra attacks, but it's like once I do the blitz and the follow through, most of the time we're gonna be on some other, you could be on the other side of the guy or whatnot. But then I was like, well, what if I was just sitting there and I was like, and I was like, and when I felt the power I came with, that's why I called it a block breaker, because that's it. And then I tried it with my left hand, and because my left hand is my weak hand, it's not as fluid. So I'm like, and it's not as fit. But so it's like, all right, now I have to incorporate that. Now I have to be able to incorporate more things in with that. And, like some of those fights that you get really close where you're just like, the one time I fought Ashley, and we're just sitting there like pretty much close quarters throwing kicks at each other. And normally I don't fight like that, but I did. And then about a few weeks ago, Matt, he rope-a-dope me. He was like, okay, you got to attack, right? So then he was like, you do this, you do that, right? So he's like playing me, he does like that, right? I go to attack, he brought his foot up straight right to my chest. I was like, oops. I felt it. But at the same time, before that would have knocked me down maybe, but it's not going to knock me down, at least that I don't think. It's not going to knock me down. Now, I will get knocked down. I've been knocked down, up until that point too, even after that point. But it was one of those things that it kind of helps to go that route. Emmanuel, let's weigh in on this, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, a big part of like when we started martial arts, something that made us like so much better so fast was that we would just fight black belts most of the time. Like we were like 15, we'd fight people that were like 30 with like third degree black belt or something. And
Yeah.
just fighting those people, like you pick up stuff from them.
Oh yeah.
And like we would be like at tournaments and we would fight people that have been doing martial arts for 7 years or something like that, and we'd be on the same level as them.
Yeah. And that's what you guys pretty much did with Jonathan.
Yeah, we used to train Jonathan in the backyard. We used to like put a string in the backyard and have Jonathan practice ducking under the string.
Okay. Go on. Jose, you're about to say something?
Yeah, just bringing different aspects to it. And then like you said, like the black belts that we fought were just like really, really good, you know, and just to show us all those things and angling and
I kind of
So-
watch that now with you, because at first me and you would just fight some crazy. The dog's got a squeaky toy. We would just fight some crazy like brawling style. And Molly brought it up to me. She was like, "You're just standing there with him. He's gonna knock you around, Dad." And I'm like, "Okay." So then, like, I think, like for me, it's been trying to open up my legs, because I feel that if I had this thing, or if I threw a kick, it would be too low. So for me, it was also like, whereas now I can throw those kicks and it's a lot easier. And so that puts me in a better, like, if you've noticed a few things that I do is I'll lead in with like a side kick, but I'll sometimes leave that kick out there to kind of see what they're going to do, because it throws off everybody. A lot of people are still used to me not being able to throw other kicks.
Yeah.
So when I leave it out there and then I come back with a a roundhouse off of it, it's because of what you guys do and what you guys say, pretty much spreading the wealth, the knowledge, the power, the stamina, the ideals. Bring up the meditation. That's a big thing. You know, they always say if your mind goes into a calm place, everything slows down and you see it more and more.
yes, we have had like other. I remember growing up, we would see black belts and we would just be like, oh my God, like, you know, that's a black belt. But like the skill level that we were trained, because we, like I said, there would be times where we would only focus on fighting. So
Yeah.
it was like we would get into the ring because it would be, we only had a certain amount of time to train with Brian for this after school program that
Yeah.
like in the life of martial arts, you're never gonna like learn it all. Like I still have a lifetime to like practice everything, learn everything, and I will always try to continue to grow that. But like I said, like we thought, you know, black belt, you know, was everything. But there was a time where he brought a black belt from a different school, and not to knock any other schools or anything, because there are other great schools and schools that we've teamed up with that are great. And but yeah, this particular time we had a black belt come in, and he was a third degree black belt, and we were like green belts, like novice, just starting off, and we could hold our own. You
Oh.
know, I knew what I was doing. I felt comfortable, and then Brian put in one of his black belts, Chris Leone, and you know, he was a black belt that came up with us. Was in a school with us that we started off with, and he was very good, and he couldn't keep up with our black belt that was
Yeah.
there, and he was just like far beyond him, and it was basically just a belt to hold up your pants. So like ranks and things like that, yes, they are important, but that's not like the main focus, you know. It's just to just keep learning and keep getting better.
Yeah. So follow that, Emmanuel. But while my dog squeaks this
Well, I
thing.
remember Brian used to take us around to like different schools, and we were like green belts, purple belts, and he would have the talk with us. He'd be like, "Don't be embarrassing the black belts," because we would go in there and we beat up the black belts and be like, "Come on, why are you embarrassing the black belts?" So we'd want to like
Yeah,
team up with schools so we can train with them more than once.
yeah, and we'd want to be respectful as possible. You know, you don't want to go there and like I said, martial arts is humbling. You
Yeah.
know, you go to a school and there could be guys that are really good, and they'll clean your clock. You know,
Yep.
so you gotta always be ready and prepared and keep training hard.
Yeah, you never know.
Yep. keep your
But yeah,
hands up.
I remember a particular school that we went to, and there was some black belts there, and they're super cocky. They didn't know who we were,
Uh,
and we beat up all their black belts. And I remember Brian was mad at us that day.
There's a few times we had some upsetting moments, but you know, we were the knuckleheads.
yeah, and Brian, he does like he had to have a talk with me. He was like, me and you've developed a friendship over the years. When you're in here now I'm a master. Now I'm your master. And I said, totally respect that. Totally respect that. So then sometimes I almost feel like I'm set up because like one time Len Sr. was like, hey, tell Cam this or something. So I went down there and I was like, Cam, Len Sr. said, put your belt around. Brian goes, hold on. He came over. He goes, I know who told you to say that. He was like, Cam has it that way for that. And I'm like, oh, kill the messenger.
Mhm.
But it's learning. It's about that. And he's had to put me in check. Like when I started training people, I remember like what I was able to do. And I'm like, I sometimes don't know that other people can do that as well. And I've learned that, with more and more. So now, like, I love, like, the one class, Len had me in the back doing all this stuff for everybody. And it felt good that I could actually, like, help other people and do that. So as I did it, I understood. He's like, hey, don't have him doing that kick. He is only to do this. That's all I want to see him doing.
Mhm.
And then I watched somebody else get busted for it. And I'm like, oh, don't let him do that.
Yeah.
And then, and Lance came back and he's got the retainer. And what was it? Blake, I was out and Blake, like Lance, I don't know what he did. He was right there. So I see his like face and then Blake just goes, I'm like, watch the hands to the face. And I went up to Blake because like that. I was just like, I only said that. I was like, great job. But I was like, I only said that because of the thing. But I was like, he was like, yeah. He was like, I didn't know what I did. Like it happened. You
Yeah, gotta
know?
have his hands up. And Lance is another one like that. He started like young, and I love
Mhm.
how like these guys will even if they have like an off season or they're playing football, because some of us that like we would in school would play multiple sports.
Mhm.
I love how they come back and they're huge.
Uh-huh.
They grow, and how much more we could work with them now.
Oh
Because
yeah.
once he was like small, like a boy, and now he's coming back. He's a young man, and I love to see that.
It is nice. It's so you got that, and then you have everything else that's kind of coming in, and then I'm just like I'm missing it right now. Like to walk out when I have to walk out of there, I'm like it feels so unnatural now because I want to be out there. I hear the bags getting hit. I walk in and I see people putting the work in. I see them bowing out. And I'm like, brr. So like the leg, I've been stretching it, and I got that the physical therapy coming up. And like we said, take this time and get those legs, I'm not disregarding my legs, but I'm also, doing the lifting and stuff like that to just come back a little leaner and to make it work and keep me going in that right direction because competition right now is fun. And
Yeah.
that's the stuff. It's literally, like when you said the gleam in your eye, it's funny that at my age you could pick this up and get that.
Mhm.
And I think that's because of people like you, both, and the whole school brings it together, makes it feel like a family, and makes it fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what it's supposed to be about. Like fun. You wanna go there and have that stress relief and know that you're safe and you're around people that are pushing each other for the same goal, and they want to help each other, and it's just awesome, an awesome feeling.
Awesome. So man, we really killed this. I just looked at the time. Like, we've literally talked about our school so much. The one thing I do want to talk to you both about is getting back into that movie or getting back into, doing some of that stuff to set it up to what Len has going with Pact to Vengeance and going into, like I was watching you rap, Manuel. I was just like, but I can't understand you because I don't know Spanish. I was just
Good.
like, I'm like, okay. You know, like I'm like,
And
like,
that's
did you
the
say
thing about
Bob?
Emmanuel. He's a go getter. He just goes, tries it.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
I didn't.
call bring the pain. That's it.
Yeah.
It isn't just bring the pain. It's not just about pain. It's like just do it. It's do whatever you do in life. Always try. It's that's the biggest thing that I've always been a firm believer in is give your heart. If you're going to do something, don't go in there with a if you're going to go fishing, don't go buy one of those stupid little kiddie poles with a princess on it.
Yeah.
Buy a real fishing pole and go from there. Build with skills, build with real things, and to keep building and push others. And like that's why I brought up earlier about maybe some workout. Maybe it's not. Maybe workout videos aren't the thing, or and like you said, you have your world, Emmanuel, and that world's going to come together one day. If you keep making animations and you got a guy getting out of a car and you got some rap music in the background or some trap music in the
Yeah.
background, and you do that. As you improve, you're going to light things up because when we're done, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret, but you know it's one of those things that as you build yourself to that one day that opportunity might present itself to you, and when it does, that's that's what you've worked for. And for me
Mhm.
right now is learning as much as I can from you guys, the videos, slowing it down, watching Shane Fazer, whatever,
Yeah.
in there, and watching him do his punches, but watching, how like when I brought up to you, Jose, the other day, that Molly has that full stretch now, but she only just recently got like a full split. So when he did the split, she did the split. But when he started doing this, she couldn't start doing that because she hasn't worked those muscles. And I told her,
Right.
now you have to get your muscle memory. So
Hmm.
weigh in.
Yeah. Eventually, when you first start doing karate, I'm sure Jose remembers. You have to think about everything. So I'm gonna do this kick. I'm gonna turn my leg. I'm gonna bring my knee up, aim with my knee, throw the kick out. Eventually, everything just happens by itself. You didn't like sometimes you're sparring and you do a combo and you don't even know where it came from.
You're
Once
right.
you.
Yeah, and it's
Mhm.
definitely like something that after years of doing, there's little things that you could tweak and make things better that you may not realize can make a big difference
Yeah,
that will.
it's amazing. And that's the fun part of it. It's that. And that's another thing too. When I did my other Bring the Pain with Molly, the one thing I brought up was that it's more than just karate. The people or martial arts or mixed martial arts or go in there to be part of a family. We all have stuff outside of work that we are very passionate about. And also, I mean, well, not out of work, I mean, outside the dojo.
Mhm.
We're passionate about that stuff. It shows, with Emmanuel's creations, and you and bringing up the kids and having that and always maintaining that mentality to always be fit because you never know. You do never know. Like people, regardless of what people's views, if a meteor small enough hits and you got to run. Like you don't
Yeah,
want to be that guy in the back.
definitely before this pandemic, I definitely had like a feeling that something was going to impact my life in a negative way. And I had that like sense of like things are going good, like something's bad gonna happen, type sense.
Yeah,
So I told myself, whatever happens, I have to mentally make myself strong to go through that. And
mm-hmm.
one of those things is working out in your mental health. And especially with the pandemic and being isolated, that's something that I'm glad I got into before the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had the wheels going, and I was just worrying more about fitness and my family and my
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah,
And it definitely helped. And like I said, there could be situations in life where you never know what could happen, and I would rather be prepared for it in any situation or aspect in my life.
yeah. It's not like a meteor is going to fall from the sky. I mean, it
Yeah,
could. It could, but it'd be nice to be able to outrun it. Outrun whatever
yeah, it's
water
one
comes your
thing.
way.
I'm gonna do everything like you said. Like I'm gonna do everything I can to try to get out of the way, or something my grandfather would always tell me: if you're gonna do something, don't like waste your time because you have limited time. Like if
Mhm.
you're gonna
Yeah,
do it as best as you can do, because if not, you're gonna waste your time. So
that's
that's
You
right.
something
start,
I did
mhm.
take, from him, and it pushed me to like be better.
Yeah, Manuel.
You start feeling that as you get older. You see how fast time flies by. It feels like I was like 17 yesterday. Like,
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. Like it almost like sometimes. Oh, I gotta talk. See, animals. Um, it's like it almost feels like me going back in time to at 24 playing football, and next thing that happened is I hurt my leg trying to score a touchdown I shouldn't have been trying to,
mhm.
and I spent when I came out of it, it was devastating, and mentally I never thought about aspects like that. That would have been a time in my life that I wish I would have been part of, a family like that, or had some kind of mental training. Because when I talk to both of you, I mean this in total respect of everything. You guys do handle yourselves better than I do. Like if I looked at the three of us, and I don't say that like when you're behind closed doors and not on a camera and stuff, we're not going to drop some F bombs or whatever. But at the same time, like I look at it and I can see how humble Jose is, how sometimes soft spoken you are, Emmanuel, and how loud and obnoxious I can be. And I'm looking at it right now. You guys have had something in your life for a very, very long time that has always gave you an out and has always been able to train your mind to overcome situations. And when you just brought that up, Jose, that you were just like before you could feel that something was bad was going to happen. I think that's almost the step back, step forward kind of thing. And I think that when we were talking about what happened, with this and stuff like that, that I will come back and I'll be stronger and I'll be more, because what happened, it was a fluke. It was literally a fluke. I didn't get hit unless it was crowded that night, but I didn't get hit. So that looks at me as I didn't know where I was. I didn't know I was that close. So I should have
Mhm.
been more aware. And
Yeah,
that's what happens.
And that's just how things go. Injuries happen in sports, in any sports. And even there was a time recently where I was really, when I first started training right before the pandemic, I was kicking the bag, and we have some heavy bags, and I felt like I went in for a really heavy kick, and I felt like my knee like stretched when I kicked, like it pulled my
oh,
knee because I kicked the bag so hard, as hard as I could. I felt like it like pulled my knee somehow like away
Mhm.
from like it was like pulling like
Yeah.
my
Oh, but it could.
and and that's the thing is like when you're working that hard and pushing your body, you're
You're back.
I think, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I had
No,
to
I
get
threw
in.
everybody off. That's the best part. So it's been so long, and I know that you got your kids there and everything, and everybody's got. Going into the podcast, did either one of you have butterflies?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did. Uh, when I get into it, I start talking a lot more, but it's just
Mhm.
that first sentence or two, or and then I'll be like, all right, I got this, and I get
Yeah,
that confidence from my martial arts and everything.
there you go.
Yep.
Emmanuel, you as
Yeah.
well?
Oh yeah, I get nervous from it. Like the same thing. I think the first time I ever remember being confident was when we started winning tournaments. I was like, I've never felt like this before. And yeah, but yeah,
That's awesome. That's all. That's what I want to sense. I not that I haven't had maybe past things. I want that too. Like I've said it. I want to go to a tournament, and I wouldn't mind me and Molly taking first. It would just be kind of
mhm,
one of those father son kind of moments that, or father daughter kind of moments to where it makes a full circle where it's like that. And even if she won and I lost, I would be more happy for that because
yeah,
I know that I'll get another shot. She'll get another shot. but it's to actually see her overcome her demons. She got her ears done finally because she was just always like frizzled about it. So she has her ears pierced now. And the first thing she was like, well, what about the headgear? What if I take a punch? I looked at her and said, then don't take a punch. It's like,
Yeah.
I definitely I definitely agree with her. Like I got my ears pierced, and sometimes I started wearing like the old school Michael Jordan hoop earrings, like
oh,
when he was playing for the Bulls. I kind of felt like I was coming back like the Bulls. So there was a time where I would forget to take off my earrings, and I would be like, you know what? I'm not gonna get hit, so I don't
yeah,
need to take them out. And that's
yeah,
that ego-ness that once you start getting into it, you get that confidence. But you get that humble experience too. You get kids that start training and getting better and push you to get better.
yeah.
And but yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, I just like I said with both y'all, we talk at the dojo all the time. So I said, like I said, minutes in, it'll be so easy. It's just like we're all sitting around at a table, cracking beers or drinking some waters or some Gatorade and just having a good time talking about something we all love now, or
Yeah.
you two have loved all your life. I was more of a video guy that finally took it to the next level. And now I'm thinking about all these things I've seen in the movies and how they won't work, but how then sometimes when I do some moves, I see similarities and I'm like, oh, it
Mhm.
does work because it's part of the style. And I
Yeah.
think, that kata class that I've been doing on Tuesdays, I can't believe how much I loved the fourth kata and how good I was
yeah,
able to do it. Even though uh, they only taught us half of it, and how I through the third, I have to polish the third. First and second, I'm good at, but it was also helping me stretch. It was giving me a pretty much a day between Monday and Wednesday, which are pretty much intense with our school, and it
oh
was
yeah,
giving me like a more relaxed kind of back kind of thing, but it was also still working me out. It's awesome. That was it.
Mhm.
I can't I can't wait to get back and do that stuff. And I think, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good. I just have like this couple bend and straighten things to go, and then I'm going to be back. And then
Yeah.
I'll probably give myself probably a month off to let the leg fully get back into it. I'll work the bags, and I'm gonna get
You should
that, and then
try
we'll
some
be back
yoga.
under. What was that?
You should try some yoga. I injured my back like a couple years ago,
Mhm.
and I was supposed to get surgery for a pinched nerve, and I just did a bunch of yoga, and my back's pretty good now. So this
Yeah,
is it.
that maybe that's it. Or you just go to physical therapy and some guy sits on your damn leg. That's what's probably
Yeah.
going to happen. And it'll feel so good. So good. Like, and I remember that because the left one was just truly devastated. Like it just, I broke everything in it. So it's all screwed.
Mhm.
But, I remember the guy was like, I've torn my ACL and I'm going to have nothing. And he's over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh man,
but this ain't going to be like that. And that's what it's about. It's about getting back, having fun, anything. So, guys, this was awesome. And I'm truly honored to actually have both of you on at the same time on a podcast about our school, about, just life, and that a message can be sent out to everybody that do everything that you want at your pace. And when you do it, always go in. I bring up the kata class real quick. I saw Len Senior actually get disturbed, and we had a talk about it with Sensei Kim. He looked at one of the students that's really loud, if you know what I mean,
mm-hmm.
and and he was like, "We're not going to have any of that business here." He was like, da, 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 da. And I saw him. He was like, and I was like, "Holy moly!" He gets mad. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, you better listen, dude. I ain't trying to do more push-ups. Like that.
Well, I was one of those students that, kid you not, maybe at first, I was a jokester. I like to clown around a lot,
Yeah,
and
I get it too. It's to me, it was one of those things. I'll say one time, I heard a story. They said they were at dinner and it's a Pot of Thunder guy. He said that somebody was chewing and it made him like visually throw up. Like he threw up because it like really messed him up. So I was like sitting there the one time, right? And we're all doing it. And, you know, me, I'm usually the counter 1, 2. Dude's down there, wah! Chow! And I started getting woozy. I'm like, whoa, like it started throwing me off. I was like, what is going on? I was like, I'm about to like lose myself. And I was like, no, it's good, it's good. And then he got yelled at, and I was like, you know. I said that because I'm like 35 years older than him, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, 30, something like that. But it was like, calm down, same kid, you know, it was the guy that got yelled at by Lynn Senior. So it's like, you know, but hey, you just got energy, you just have fun, you just gotta do your thing, and that. So I know what's that?
I just try to use my energy, like try to reserve it for when I need it for karate.
Yeah, I would say. So to end this out, Jose, I don't know if you do anything really online or if you're just like that. If you do you have a YouTube?
I don't. I kind of share YouTube with my brother because we like we like to get into the news and just get into like odd different subjects. We watch a lot of documentaries and listen to audibles
Yeah.
and
Okay. It's cool.
yeah. So we share the same account so we could see what each other are watching.
Oh,
So my brother can see actually what I'm watching, and later on we'll have conversations about it, and he'll get
That's
into
cool.
it. And I like how we are into the same things. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then Manuel, your YouTube, anything you want to plug right now for your rapping, your drawing, which is amazing. I got
I
another
just
dog.
say, look up Mundo de Manuel. It's MUNDO DEMANUEL, and they all have the same name. It's like Mundo de Manuel Animation, Mundo de Manuel Rap, and Mundo de Manuel Health and Fitness, which is where I put most of the videos. I'm gonna put this one up there.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get it when this is all put together and everything. It's gonna take a while to process though,
yeah.
because it's really long. But
Yeah.
that's what I think is the best. I couldn't believe we went this actually long, but it shows that when you have things in common and how it doesn't matter where you come from, whether you're some cheesy guy getting thrown in mud, or if you're getting shunned by a priest for a moment, and then you get to go back and stick your chest out, or you create the things that you create and can do the things, because there's a lot of people in this world that can't do what you do. And that's something Molly's been getting into, is like Molly edits and things like that. She's doing a lot of edits. Dude, she got 200 people on YouTube now. I'm like,
Oh wow.
That's awesome. I'm definitely like to see that, how like her confidence level builds up, and like
Yeah.
it's awesome.
That's what it is. And that's why I mentioned to you, I looked at Ella the other day and I go, hey, Ella, that's on you. You're the
Yeah.
only girl that's that age around her style and outranks her and has the experience from the tournaments. It really is going to come to you because, just like I said, she's not really going to get. I mean, Bakari too. He get up there, but sometimes he misses or something like that. So I don't know how often him and her get matched up. I don't really watch because
Yeah, and I love everybody like coming, and especially like Kim getting into it and getting
Yeah.
into fitness like with us. I love it when the instructors get into it as well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because when a student comes to me, I'm not gonna like tell you to do something that I wouldn't do.
I
If
agree.
I'm telling you like, listen, we're gonna do like 1,000 push-ups, like I'm gonna sit there and do them with you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna tell you to do something I wouldn't do. So it's like you gotta do what you preach.
That's awesome. It's great stuff, guys. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna make that
Yeah,
movie.
I would like to do it again. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
You got anything else you guys got? That's it.
I'm good.
All right, I'll give the outro. What was that?
Oh, I said I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right. We could probably talk all that anyway.
Bring the
I'll give the. We did. So hopefully I didn't get anybody in trouble. But everybody, you can catch us at TKO if you want to stop by. It's in Erie, Pennsylvania. Come by, get punched in the face, learn from the best, and always remember to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah! See you you guys later. Until next time.